Hi, is everything good? Yes. 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 Hi, is everything good? Yes.
mic. So for those of you joining us at home, please make sure to submit your company name in the chat so that we can properly log your attendance as well. Friendly reminder, we are in an ACCT meeting space, which means our mask policies are in place. So while not eating, drinking, or actually presenting up here, I'll take mine off so you can see my face. We want to keep those masks on. Thank you all so much. My name is Carson Rivers. I'll be presiding over this meeting. Okay. Quick introduction of board members. We have Rohan Shahani, our vice chair. Sitting next to him, we have Corey Hampton, our secretary, Keith Jacobs, Connor James, our executive director, Sean Tierney. Again, I'm Carson Rivers, I'm the chair. Cameron Annis, our treasurer, Billy Simpson, Baman Azarm, and Victor Gaio. Professional vendor member attendees, Abby, Adventure Designs and Training. Adventure Experiences, please come this way and check in with Rohan. Again, if you're joining us at home, please submit your name in the chat so we know that you're present. The Adventure Guild, Adventure Incorporated, the Adventure Network, Adventure Works Associates, Adventure Systems, Alpine Towers International, American Adventure Park Systems, Beyond Ropes, Bonsai Design, Challenge Design Innovations, Challenge Towers, Challenges Unlimited, Challenge Works, Edgy Designs, Adventure Builders, Experiential Resources, Experiential Systems, Exponent Challenge Technology Asia, High Five Adventure Learning Center, Leadership on the Move, Leahy and Associates, Outdoor Specialists, Pivotal Learning, Project Adventure, Project Adventure Japan, RopeWorks, Signature Research, Synergo, Vestal's Gap Ventures, Visionary Adventure, Wingspeed Adventures, and Zipline Korea. Again, if you are joining us from home, please submit your name in the chat so we know that you're present. If you're joining us here in person, please make sure that someone from your company came up to check in with Rohan at the end of the table. Rohan, do we have a quorum? We have a quorum. Thank you, sir. Just a quick list of all of our PVMs here on the screen as well. All right, that means that we can call this meeting to order here at 3:34 Eastern Time. Again, welcome to the annual general meeting of our membership. Appreciate you all taking the time to join us here today. There were those who thought we might only have 7 people in the room, and I'm very proud of how many we got into the room this afternoon. So thank you very much for proving the doubters wrong. Thank you, doubters, for throwing down the challenge. All right. We expect to conclude this meeting at approximately 5 p.m. So we've got about 90 minutes here. We do have a jam-packed schedule. So we'll try to get through this in efficient order. Of the supporting material that you have, if you would like a printed copy and did not get one, there may still be some available back there. If not, we can get you one later. We can also share this material with you digitally if you prefer. And those of you joining us at home, you should be able to find that in the chat function of the meeting right now as well. In that packet, you will find the agenda for this meeting, the minutes from last year's AGM, the volunteer org chart of our association, as well as financial reports from year-end fiscal year 21 and year-to-date information for fiscal year 22. At this time, I'm going to ask Keith Jacobs to read the ACCT mission statement.
The Association of Challenge Course Technology establishes and promotes the standard of care and measure excellence that defines professional practice and effective challenge course programs. ACCT develops, refines, and publishes standards for installing, maintaining, and managing challenge courses provides forums for education and professional development, and advocates for the challenge course intervention.
Thank you, Keith. And I'd like to ask Connor James to read our antitrust statement.
It is the policy of the Association for Challenge Course Technology, and it is the responsibility of every association member company to comply in all respects with federal and state antitrust laws. No activity or discussion of any association meeting or other function may be engaged in for the purpose of bringing about any understanding or agreement among members to raise, lower, or stabilize prices, regulate production, allocate markets, encourage boycotts, foster unfair trade practices, assist monopolization, or in any way violate federal or state antitrust laws. Any questions regarding the meaning or applicability of this policy, as well as any concerns regarding activities or discussions at association meetings, should be promptly brought to the attention of the association executive director or the chair of the board of directors.
Thank you, Connor. At this time, I'd like to take a motion to review and approve the agenda for the 2022 annual general meeting.
So
Second.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Bauman. In discussion, we have, of course, approval of minutes from last year's annual general meeting. We have a report from myself as chair. We'll have a report from our executive director, Sean Tierney. We'll have a report from the treasurer, Cameron Annis. We will have reports from chairs that are pre-recorded, various committees and groups, and get you a good update on all things that are happening around the association. We'll give an update on the ACCT board elections, and we will see if there's any new business, and we will adjourn the meeting. That is the basic structure of the agenda. Any further discussion? Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. We have an agenda. Next, I'd like to take a motion to approve the minutes from the annual general meeting held on January 25th, 2021, in conjunction with the 2021 virtual conference.
Second.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Bonnie. As mentioned, the last AGM was held virtually. Many of you were present there. We thank you for your attendance. Everyone has had the opportunity to look at the minutes through these handouts or again online in the packet that was submitted. Are there any discussion before we vote on these minutes? Okay, any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. We have approved minutes. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Carson Rivers, Chair of the Board of Directors. I'm going to give you a quick update on a few matters. Again, I want to take a moment to reintroduce the current board. Again, myself as Chair, I also serve as the liaison to the Board Emeritus. We have Rohan Shahani, our Vice Chair, helping run the meeting digitally on the end there, and he's liaison to leadership and nominations. Corey Hampton, who is working furiously up a sweat on the keyboard to make sure that our minutes are recorded for this meeting. She is also liaison to accreditations and certification in general, all around machine, Corey Hampton. We have Keith Jacobs, who is again a member of the board and liaison to the International Committee. Connor James, a member and liaison to the Consensus Group. Sean Tierney, as Executive Director, joins us as a non-voting member of the board. Cameron Annis as Treasurer to the board and liaison to Finance Committee. Billy Simpson, member and liaison to the newly formed Compliance Committee, formerly known as Ethics Committee. Bauman Azarm, who is a member and the liaison to Insurance and Risk Management Committee. And Victor Gallo, member and liaison to the Technical Information Research and Education, affectionately known as the TIRE Committee. Not because they're tired, but because it works as an acronym. And I did that off my head, so that means I pay attention to what's going on. All right. Short-term future of the board. As you know, every year some folks do roll off or their terms expire and we elect new folks to the board. Currently, Cameron Annis and Victor Gallo are completing here at this conference 3 years of service to the board, and they have chosen not to run for a second term. So I'd love to give them a round of applause and thank them for their service. Very enormous contributions to the board and to the association in general, and I'm sure will continue to do so in other roles in the future. Rohan Shahani is also completing his third year of his first term and is rerunning for re-election. So we want to thank him for his service, even though we actually at this point do know that he'll be back, but we want to thank him for his service of the first year. More information regarding those who are running in addition to Rohan, both in the PVM election and general membership elections, will be shared a little bit later in this presentation. Just a few other notes. The first meeting of the new board, so to speak, will be next Wednesday morning. That will occur at 7:30 Mountain Time. It is an open meeting of the board, so you are welcome to attend and listen in an observation role. If you would like to do so, there's a way to submit through the website a request to join board meetings, this meeting or any other one. That particular meeting will be going over some basic orientations of new board members, selecting officers for the coming year, and establishing liaisons for the committees, and establishing our schedule for the year. It's a very kind of procedural meeting that happens after each conference. Just some key things within the board. Obviously, the board is involved in all aspects of the association, providing oversight and guidance for all the work that happens at a staff level, obviously through Sean, who manages our staff, but directing the efforts of what the staff are doing as a whole, as well as the committees of the association. We meet twice a month, roughly, on average, pretty much. So we've had about 50 meetings or so since the last time we met in person. So it's been a busy last couple of years. Outside of just our normal day-to-day work that we do, a few key things I wanted to highlight was a big focus, obviously, over the last year, but really last 2 years, was a very strong focus on financial management, as you'd imagine, to get a reaction to a lot of the financial challenges presented by the pandemic. It has been not an easy task to ensure that the association is in good financial health, but Cameron will speak more to this, but I am proud to say that I believe we are still in very good health because of those efforts. Really just being able to come back here and gather again face-to-face has been at least a year-long process of determining, can we, can't we, will we, when we, how will we do it, what will be required, will it be possible? Just really a ton of conversations in the boardroom that have dominated a lot of our time over the last year there. And also hiring a new executive director. As you all know, or if you don't, Sean, about a year ago, close to a year ago now, let us know that it was going to be his last year. And we have been in the process over that year developing a new hiring process for an ED and have been actively in that process. And right now the task force has brought forward a list of finalists. In theory, the board doesn't have to choose one of those, but we're excited about the list that we have and are hoping to be bringing that to a close and being able to make some exciting announcements here in the near future. Also, as we establish that new executive director, we're looking forward to establishing new priorities and or a new strategic plan with that new executive director in place. If you want to understand more about, again, the association, how it's structured, what we're kind of overseeing, your handouts will have that organizational chart that you can refer to. All right. Next, I want to introduce somebody, but before I do, I just want to take a minute to embarrass him in front of everybody and let him know how much I appreciate him and his service in the last 6 years for this association, both getting us into an incredible financial position and maintaining that financial position throughout his tenure, including through the middle of a very, very challenging pandemic situation, and providing general just guidance and leadership to our wonderful staff and to our team. We are a much better organization for having Sean serve in the last 6 years. So I would love to give him a giant round of applause. Microphone over to my colleague and friend, Mr. Sean.
Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Carson. That was very generous. Wow. I've taken the liberty to assign myself a new title. You ready for it? Outgoing Executive Director. I know, I couldn't resist. Wow, I'm really aware that my time is winding down. You know, it's kind of a mixed bag for me personally. You know, there's a lot I will miss about ACCT. I have a lot of great memories. There's some things I won't miss, but I won't mention those. There's no point. But overall, it's been a great journey for me. I've really been honored to have served as the Association Executive Director. It's been a great journey. And moving on, you know, literally and figuratively, looking forward to a new transition and starting a new chapter in my life. I don't have hard plans other than moving. I'm moving to Tucson and looking forward to really not working much anymore, you know, basically. Anyway, I have the pleasure of really introducing the staff. I'm really going to miss the staff, and they're phenomenal. I'm really proud of the fact that I have hired all of the staff except for Melissa. I would have hired Melissa in a heartbeat, but I didn't have the opportunity. She was already here. And I'm so grateful for that. But I'll start with Melissa. As you know, she's the events director. She puts this whole thing on, and she works tirelessly to do that and works with a great group of volunteers, conference work group on down. And I don't know what else I can say about Melissa, except, you know, I'm so grateful for the work that you've done. So please stand and get some love from the crowd, Melissa. Melissa, yeah. Next individual I'd like to introduce is Heather Brooks. Also just phenomenal individual. She's our program manager for all of our credentialing. I gotta tell you a funny story about Heather. When I hired her, I met her at the conference. I hired her pretty much on the spot almost. She said, you know, I was really nervous when you hired me because I had like orange hair. Or maybe it was purple or blue. I don't know. It's like the rainbow sometimes. And I was like, Heather, I don't care what color your hair is. You know, I heard you for who you are and what you can do. And I see the possibilities that exist within you. But if you're thinking about getting a neck tattoo, you better come see me. So fortunately, she's not wearing a neck tattoo. No offense to anybody who has a neck tattoo. It's just, I just thought, you know, I'm older, you know, it's probably not my style. I'm not getting one. So if you're getting one, Heather, come see. Next person sitting somewhere out here, John Vogel. John Vogel. Office manager, membership coordinator, IT guy extraordinaire. I don't know what I would have done without John. People tell me don't touch any technology, you know, and you know, my personal opinion is technology is going to ruin the world, but I'll save that for later. There are some things that are good about it, but most of it I cannot stand. The words I never want to hear again are in your chat function. I never want to hear that the rest of my life. I never want to hear Asana or Slack or any of those things. Yeah, needless to say, I've been over that stuff for at least 5 years. But anyway, so that's the ACCT full-time staff. Yeah, one more time, stand up, everybody. An honor to work with you guys, some of you guys, truly. It's been an honor. All right. My glasses. Glasses for me are like putting a mask on. You know, I got to put them on to read. I got to take them off when I don't. I have 20/20 vision, but not reading, I don't. All right, Carson. Next slide there.
Volunteers and all that.
Oh, volunteers. There's a lot of them. Roughly 120 volunteers. This is a volunteer-driven organization. We have 4 full-time staff, 3 part-timers. I haven't mentioned the administrative reviewers. We've got some new ones. Micah Henderson, JT, John Dern, Charles Peterson's still around these days. So anyway, those are the part-timers, administrative reviewers. But the volunteers, please stand if you're a volunteer for the association. Let's get some recognition of the amazing volunteers who do such a phenomenal job. Make it happen. 120. It's pretty amazing the work that all of you folks who volunteer for the association do. You all deserve awards just for what you do and the dedication you have to not only the industry, but the association. It's truly pretty amazing, and I'm truly grateful for all the work. It has made my job so much easier. And it's not just me being credited for the financial success of the organization. It's everybody from the top down. It's the board, it's the staff, it's the volunteers. Everybody's driving the mission, making it happen. So thank you so much, volunteers. I love you guys. You know. Conference sponsors. So these are the folks who also contribute generously and make the conference happen with their financial contribution. Let's give it up for these folks. Aerial Adventure Tech, banner ad and digital sponsor. Challenge Towers, after hours reception sponsor. Experiential Systems, digital sponsor. Insurance, registration sponsor, lanyard sponsor, after hours reception sponsor, Cat Group sponsor, Hawks, operations management, session track sponsor. Good golly. Ropes Park Equipment Outdoor Ventures. Splash Screen sponsor. I don't even know what an app splash is. You know, this has got to be something important, I'm sure. If it involves technology and technical session track sponsor. Let's hear it for those guys. Oh, these are my key accomplishments. These are the association key accomplishments that I get the pleasure of reading next. We did our first ever virtual conference last year. That was quite the experience. How many folks attended that? Wow, awesome. Thank you guys. That's truly appreciated. That was really challenging. It only took us like 5 months, 6 months to pull it off, figure out how to do it, get the platform, get the army of people to help run it and oversee it. So that was an amazing experience. I'm loving the fact that we are in person in Cleveland, and I hope that trend continues as more states drop their mask mandates. Let's hear it for that. You know, we're going to get through this thing at some point in the next 20 years, I have no doubt. But so yeah, that was no small feat. Yeah, this was planning for this event was also, you know, normal conference planning is about a year-long effort. This one was certainly that at a much deeper level, you know, trying to pull off, you know, like Carson said, you know, figure out how to do it, how to make it happen successfully. I think it's gone phenomenally well. So thank you all for being here and, you know, following everything health consideration wise that we've had in place. I know it's challenging for everybody. We're all wearing masks, you know, so, but you've all been great. We haven't had to enforce any masks or tell even, I don't think a single person put their mask on, which is amazing. You know, you've all been really very compliant. So, Yeah, international, which is an interesting subject. I know I'm getting to the end here, don't worry. I know I've been rambling on endlessly here, but I want to thank Colin Keynes, Ken Jaco, the whole committee for international. You know, we're hoping to do a in-person international event at some point in the future. Obviously, the last couple of years with everything, it's been not possible, but we could do something at some point in the future, I hope, in person and virtually at some point soon too. So thank you guys for all your efforts to keep those just dialogues going, monthly dialogues that Colin has really been spearheading. We've had great turnout, like 30 people internationally on average, right, Colin, turnout for those Zoom calls and participate in those. So that's been really big this year as well, last year as well. And oh yeah, we've had a great opportunity with the Ministry of Education in Singapore to deliver some operation accreditation programs over there. So those will be the first international opportunities, and we're pretty close. Heather can certainly give a further update on what's happening with that. But I believe they've even submitted like their initial applications at this stage. So that's pretty exciting. That's a great feather in the cap for ACCT. And High Gravity Adventures, the newly accredited operation. Let's give it up. Good job, you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Carson. Thanks for enduring my long rant there. I've enjoyed it. So I'm going to miss you all, even though you don't quite know it yet. But anyway, Carson, have it.
Thank you, Sean. I just want to thank all the folks. Sean mentioned a lot of different people that are applying for Operation Accreditation. It's exciting to see that program getting off the ground and getting some legs under it and getting multiple programs in its ranks. And I just encourage folks here to consider that for your own organizations and help to continue to grow that list. I'm going to turn things over to our illustrious treasurer, Mr. Cameron Annis, to tell you all about our association finances.
Thanks, Carson. The most exciting part of the meeting is this. I don't know if any of you guys get as excited about finances and numbers as I do. Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, that's good. And just a little background, you know, the association has done a phenomenal job, and thanks to Sean for this over the past 6 years to really build up the reserves. And, you know, the constant question is, you know, always a lot of, you know, what do we need reserves for? You know, what are they there for? Why do we have the reserves there? And this past year and a half has proved exactly why, you know, we have those reserves there. And it's been so nice and not necessarily comfortable, but not in a threatening situation. Because any of you that's managed finances over the past year and a half know that it's kind of been like juggling in the dark while someone's throwing darts at you. And you know, you miss one and it's like, okay, but then again, something else comes right around the corner to catch you by surprise. But to give a little overview of the FY21 or the fiscal year that ended June at the end of June in 2021, give a little bit of overview for that. And I'll tell you guys, the budget numbers that you have on the income statement in your packet are not correct. Somehow those got pulled in and they're not correct, but the numbers on the screen are correct. So looking at what we budgeted for last year, coming, you know, when we set these budgets, we were right in the height of the pandemic and knew that it was going to be, you know, a rough year for the association, especially moving into a virtual conference and that not generating as much revenue. So we budgeted about $154,000 loss for the association for FY21. And thank goodness, you know, we ended up better than that, about an $83,000 loss. A huge thank you to the government for the PPP money. As you'll see at the bottom of that slide there, that generated about $61,000 of income for us, which you will note is almost about the difference between the budget and the actual there. How we ended up from a balance sheet perspective at the end of June in 2021, in the checking account, which we consider kind of our operating account, we had around $200,000, and then in our savings and reserves, we had around $485,000 A huge feat for FY21 was we did not have to touch that savings and reserves account throughout FY21, which was awesome. Thanks, Carson. So talking a little bit about budgeting, you know, back in spring of 2021, we started engaging in budget conversations, and we were feeling really good about the conference this year. You know, everything was really, from a COVID perspective, trending very well. But we put together a 500-person in-conference budget, 750 and 1,000. And in spring of 21, we were feeling really good, and we said, you know what, we're going to budget on the 1,000-person conference. And then COVID started to tick back up recently, and we've not quite hit the 1,000 attendees here, but actual attendance is over 600 people right now, which is awesome. Congratulations to everybody. And so talking a little bit about how we're trending financially in the first 6 months of fiscal year or FY22. And so these numbers are through the end of December 31st, 2021. And we budgeted a net income based off of that 1,000-person conference attendance. We budgeted a net income of a loss of right around $5,000. Currently through the end of December, we're sitting at about a $19,000 loss. You can see the cash changes where we, at the end of December, we were at about 115,000 in the checking or operating account, and between savings and reserves, that was still not touched from the end of June from FY21. Couple of other things to note here. The PPP money, we did receive the second round of PPP in this financial period as well, which helped out. And we did, as an association, apply for the EIDL loan, and we received that, or we were granted that. That has not been deposited yet, though. So that is still to come, and that's at $169,400 there. From a financial perspective, that's really a good overview. If anyone has any questions afterwards, I'd love to answer those questions. But thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you for your attendance here. You know, this conference is, makes up over 70% of our annual budget, and is really, the main income stream for the association. So thank you guys for all your support at the conference, and those people staying at the host hotel as well. Thank you guys. And I'll turn it back over to Carson.
Thanks, Cameron. And just a couple of notes to clarify. Cameron mentioned that the handouts had an error. The actual numbers in terms of how we performed are not wrong. Those are correct. It's for some reason on the part that's like against the budget in FY21. For some reason, the total budget numbers got off there. We just noticed that this afternoon after we had already started printing everything. So apologies for that, but the actual numbers are correct. I am going to kind of move us through the next portion of our meeting here, which is to get reports from the committees. And we, like last year in the virtual event, I had all those pre-recorded. So we're going to kind of watch a series of little video presentations on the screen here from our various committees and groups. And again, if you want to take a look at your handouts for a reminder of how all these groups work together, who reports to who, how they're connected, what the difference between a committee and a panel and a work group and an affinity group and all these different things is all explained in the supporting materials that you received as you walked in, or that you got sent to you at home if you're joining us virtually. And for those of you who are joining us at home, I am actually going to mute the microphone here on my computer so that there's not interference while we're playing these videos, and you will be back with me in between the videos. So I'm going to mute that. And we're going to first hear from Kennerly DeForest, Chair of our Accreditation and Certification Committee.
Greetings, ACCT community. This is the Accreditation and Certification Committee. That's the ACCT Annual General Meeting Report. My name is Kennerly DeForest. I'm the current chair of the ACC, and we cannot really get started without saying a huge thank you to all of the volunteers that have spent many, many hours working on the program side of ACCT, as well as our staff, and especially Heather, who keeps all of us in check and keeps all of us on task and on point throughout the entire operations side of the association. The ACC, Accreditation Certification Committee, is responsible for the program side, like I mentioned, and we have several panels that fall under our purview, as well as multiple task forces that are doing the work to develop and grow the program side, while the panels do a lot of the maintenance and other work that's associated with the programs. ACC program achievements this year, we have another busy year. We have the trainer curriculum that is out for public comment right now. If you haven't already made a comment, please read that and take a look at it. We've also hosted virtual meetings, program summits, and many other things that we've done this year. The vendor accreditation side has done a lot of the maintenance of the program, including operating and running the reviews this year, as well as the annual reports, and dealing with other parts of that, and just continuing to keep that program functioning smoothly. Inspector certification has been very busy, especially with a new policy as well as eligibility, and that document's up now. Switched the supervisor affidavit over to an attestation, hosted ICE prep courses, hosted testing events, continue to develop the tests and the test questions, and that you'll see at this conference, the CEU form is a little different and hopefully easier to manage this year. Operational accreditation has done quite a bit of work, working with the Singapore MOE, which is Ministry of Education, and as well as working to develop other accreditation benefits, including potential the insurance discount. The operational reviewer panel is now under the OAP, and it's not a separate task force or panel at this point. And operational reviewer have hosted refresher trainings for the current pool of approved reviewers. Vendor accreditation design is a task force, and they have hosted several open meetings to garner feedback and submitted a draft for public comment. So please take a look at that if you have not already. And now they're shifting their focus to work on qualifications for the initial service areas. On the trainer curriculum side, the trainer curriculum has been submitted to the ACC, and we are working with that to hopefully get that out for public comment. And that task force has been disbanded because they met all of the requirements of their terms of reference. QCP and Universal Portfolio. QCP task force is slowly ramping up and working, and hopefully we'll have something shortly for everybody in the early part of 2022. Universal Portfolio is on our hiatus until the QCP work is completed. So they have done quite a bit of work already on that. And that is the end of the operations side of the report. If you have any questions, please ask. I will be at the conference. If you want to write a question down, best is to hand that to the staff and Heather, and they will make sure it goes to the correct person. Thank you very much. Have a fabulous conference.
Thank you, Kennerly. Next up, we have John Lazarus, the chair of the Consensus Group, to give us an update on what they've been up to.
Hello, folks. My name is John Lazarus, and I'm the current chair of the ACCT Consensus Group. Our responsibilities include processing proposed draft standards through the accredited procedures for eventual publication as an American national standard. The current Consensus Group members consist of 14 persons in 3 interest categories, and they include the following. In the vendor category, we have myself as the chair, Pete Sawyer as the vice chair, Keith Jacobs, Etienne LeBlanc, Dave Merrill. In the user category, we have Paul Chapman, Sean Moriarty, Louis McCurley, and Mitch McWilliams. In the general category, we have Rhonda Mickelson, Richard Borland, Curtis Britcher, Sean Fisher, and Michael Lane. We currently have 1 vacant position in the user category. Our secretary is John Vogelin, and our board liaison is Connor James. Last year has been focused on the consensus group members continuing to refine their internal processes, including documentation of internal procedures and looking at the scope of the current published standards to assess the direction of future standard revisions. The association received several proposed standards drafts through its official portal from both ACT's internal committees and members of the general industry, and are currently being considered for the next revision of the standards. Formal PINS was filed to revise the ANSI Act 0302X Challenge Course and Zipline standards on August 6, 2021 with ANSI, initiating the next revision for the standards. Members are currently in the process of reviewing those and formatting responses to the commenters. Following that process, there will be a formal public comment period initiated later in the year. Other tasks during the year include ongoing work on information documents used to educate members, including the general public, regarding the overall ACT ANSI standards development process, bringing on a new secretary to the consensus group and the addition of 2 new members, along with initiating the formation of a task force to revise the accredited procedures leading to the expansion of the membership categories represented in the group. Current membership is at 14 members with 1 open position in the user category. Persons who want to submit an application for this position, please refer to the ACT website for the process description and specific application to the consensus group. And as always, for additional information on the consensus group and its function, please refer to the ACT website at www.actinfo.org. And thank you, and we look forward to your participation in our standards development process.
Thank you, John.
Hello, folks. My name is John Lazarus, and I'm the current chair.
Sorry, John. All right. Next, we have the Compliance Committee. Again, this was just a recent name change. In fact, the board approved this name change just a few days ago. So the video is going to refer to the Ethics Committee. They're one and the same. They're just updating, and that is who the Compliance Committee is, with Jennifer Martyr as the chair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Martyr, and I'm the chair of the ACCT Ethics Committee. Our other committee members are Tim Prairie, Ken Jaco, and Andrew Hubert. We've been hard at work this year. In 2021, we have resolved 3 grievances. There's been no new grievances filed, so good work, everyone. We've submitted draft revisions of our Code of Ethics to the board for review. We've submitted draft revisions to the grievance resolution process. We've created a new grievance process model to be used in conflict resolution in the future. And we've provided a framework for how committees and panels may offer expertise in the grievance resolution process under this new model. The terms of reference for the Ethics Committee have remained largely unchanged since this committee was originally formed. Since that time, the ACCT has grown exponentially, as has its membership, its programs, and many of the professional vendor member companies. The types of grievances that we're seeing now are more complex in nature and often concern interpretation and compliance with standards, compliance with credentialing programs of the ACCT, and also compliance to our Code of Ethics, and issues concerning business relationships. When the current Ethics Committee formed in January 2021, we were tasked with continuing the work of the previous committee and resolving 3 outstanding grievances, and together with our 2 emeritus board members, continue to review and revise the grievance resolution process. Through this work, we've discovered that the grievance process, as it currently exists, is not quite serving the current needs of the association, its membership, or its programs. We've proposed a few changes to the process, which are currently being reviewed by the board. Some recommendations that are currently being reviewed are a revised grievance process, which offers a more timely resolution of conflicts, incorporating the expertise of our committees and our credentialing programs to resolve conflict or grievances, and uses the expertise of those committees as a resource in the process. Serves the association as a whole, both internally and by assisting committees and programs with conflicts that arise, as well as externally for vendors and their clients. And it maintains the highest level of confidentiality through the resolution process. We've also made recommendations to our Code of Ethics, which would more clearly define the expectation of our membership and the conduct expected by our vendors, practitioners, staff, and volunteers in their business practices. We're currently looking for at least 2 additional members to join our committee in 2022. So if this work sounds exciting to you, please reach out if you're interested. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Next, we have another multi-talented Jen as well. Jen Ottinger is going to give us an update on the Finance Committee, which has been very active, as you can imagine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Ottinger with High Five Adventure Learning Center, and I serve as the chair of the ACCT Finance Committee. The committee is charged with assisting the board to help develop fiscal policies and best practices, monitor financial trends, coordinate reviews and audits, ensure that the policies, procedures, and budget protocols are in the best interest of the organization, and foster long-term financial sustainability for ACCT. We meet every 4 weeks and as needed with the executive director and board members to discuss financial developments and projections. This past year, we've monitored monthly financial reports, cash flow and bank accounts, reviewed the annual budget prior to its adoption, worked with the board to finalize and adopt formal financial policies and procedures, and currently we're helping to monitor cash flow in the budget to prepare for the financial impact of another conference under pandemic conditions. COVID's disrupted the organization's operations, budget, and business model, and we will continue to assist the board in adapting and making the best financial decisions to ensure long-term sustainability of ACCT. I want to thank Finance Committee members Shane Griswold of Go Ape, Beth Norris of Project Adventure, and Brian Funtleiter of Boundless Adventures for their contributions this past year and for their ongoing willingness to serve on this committee. Thanks.
And Jen has really, as you mentioned, anytime we need it, we have been on the phone a lot with Jen, especially Sean and Cameron and others. Next, we've got Randy Smith, Chair of Insurance and Risk Management.
Hi, this is Randy Smith. I'm the chair of the Insurance and Risk Management Committee for ACCT. Members of the committee are myself, Bob Ryan, Becky Staley, Robert Monahan, Cameron Annis, and Baman Osram as the board liaison. This past year, the industry has been quite busy as we've been coming out of the 2020 COVID year. And so we have not done a lot of new initiatives within the committee. However, we have done quite a bit of follow-up on previous initiatives. So in 2019, we helped identify and develop a group health insurance plan that can be offered to ACCT members. Because of the pandemic, response to that was fairly slow, but that program is still available to members. Also in 2019, we began analyzing insurance loss data for our industry as a whole. This will be the 3rd year that we have done this analysis and presented that information at the conference. This is a project that is being done in conjunction with our ongoing relationship with Hibbs Hallmark and Granite Insurance. And the analysis has been done for us by Appalachia State University. This year, the current version of that analysis will be presented at the conference in the Incident Trends and Benchmarking Workshop. Every year we do a walkthrough of ACCT's insurance policies to look for potential gaps and overlaps. We did that again this fall. At this point, I think we have a very solid program, and no recommendations were made for changes at this time. We have started to finalize a project to review all minimum insurance requirements and recommendations for individuals and companies who participate in the various ACT credentialing programs. All of these recommendations have been updated and revised. This includes recommendations for insurance coverage for international applicants where local requirements vary from the US norms. During this project, we've met with and solicited feedback from all the credentialing committees. And we are finalizing that information right now and in the process of submitting it to the board of directors for approval. Those are pretty much the things that we worked on this past year. And we look forward to some following up on those projects and some new initiatives for 2022. If anybody has any questions or requests for the committee, please let me know and we'll take those on as we go into 2022. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Randy. Next, we have Mr. Colin Keynes with the International Committee.
Hi, I'm Colin Keynes, the chair of the Association International Committee. The purpose of this committee is to advise the board of directors to support the office staff and to serve as a resource in matters regarding industry-related governmental and regulatory issues, events, safety, and education that occurs outside the United States. I myself am based in Singapore, and members of our committee are based in the US, Mexico, Germany, and Wales. We had in 2020 obtained the approval from the board of directors to prepare for a regional conference in Taiwan, but COVID-19 laid waste to those plans. So in 2021, we started the International Dialogue session by Zoom. This takes place every 2 months on the last Friday of that month at 9:30 a.m. EST. We had 6 dialogue sessions in 2021, and the attendance had been between 12 to 22 members who are not based in the United States. We intend to continue with these dialogue sessions as a means to keep in touch and to keep abreast of things happening in the industry worldwide. It is also a place where members can inform us of the problems faced by them in their particular jurisdictions, and we can refer such problems to the board of directors who will try to address these issues. We had also conducted 2 presentations on the standards and the navigation of the ACCT webpage, done by Ms. Katie Harras and by the amazing Heather Brooks. Melissa Webb also spoke on the safety protocols for this conference during one of those sessions. We do intend to bring more educational content to these dialogues. Now, for the coming year, we are continuing with the international dialogue sessions. We are also looking at ACCT having a presence in regional roadshows and trade fairs, which will involve members residing in the countries where these shows or trade fairs will take place, thereby enhancing the presence of the association on an international basis. We are looking at connecting with all of our members who do not reside in the US to assist us. We are also looking for members from different jurisdictions to join us in carrying out these plans. Please reach out to me through the association. We do need volunteers. Remember, we are not international members of the association. We are all members of the International Association for Challenge Course Technologies. Thank you. Keep safe.
Well said, and thank you, Colin. Next, we have Rachel Haley, Chair of Leadership and Nominations.
Hello, my name is Rachel Haley, and I am the committee chair for the Leadership and Nominations Committee. I want to share a little bit about our vision, current initiatives, and successes so far. And a very special thank you goes out to our committee members, Deirdre Goodwin and Gary Sweedak. So, in looking at the vision for Leadership and Nominations Committee, our main purpose is to provide information about our volunteer structure to the membership, train and mentor prospective and current volunteers, and create a path to volunteer advancement for new volunteers. So we strive to develop the organization's leadership and are in the process of creating a mentorship program and supporting the elections as well. So very exciting time. All right, our accomplishments so far with these initiatives. We have reviewed existing policies for general membership and made a recommendation to the board of directors to set election policies that match for both general membership and accredited vendor member elected board seats. Leadership and Nominations Committee also created a policy for the election of board members elected by the general membership that allowed for this to happen. So this was approved at the Board of Directors fall face-to-face meeting. Also, LNC has identified a number of strategic initiatives to help further the goals of the committee, those that I've spoken to before, specifically the creation of an ACCT member mentorship program, which is focused on creating and improving materials for the distribution to members on ACCT organizational structure and volunteer roles. Creating and implementing a standing panel for the administration of all future elections. And projects for 2022 will continue to develop the structures and materials to support the creation of these initiatives. So we're looking forward to an exciting and productive 2022. And as always, LNC is looking for new members, so feel free to reach out to us. Many thanks for your time. Cheers.
Thank you, Rachel. Last and certainly not least, the incomparable Rich Kleinschek, and I spelled his name correctly without having to look it up. I'm pretty proud of it. I spelled it right, I think, yeah? Okay, I nailed it. All right, here we go.
Hello and happy 2022, everyone. I'm Rich Kleinschek, chair of the TIRE committee. In case you don't know or can't remember what TIRE stands for, it's Technical Information, Research, and Education. So if you can remember that, you'll have a pretty good idea of the things that we're up to. Members of the TIRE committee are, in alphabetical order, Kathy Harris, Michelle Hepler, Sarah Osterhaus, Randy Smith, Josh Todd, Melanie Wills, and John Winter. They're just the best committee ever. Our board of director liaison is Victor Gallo. So TIRE and the other main committee of ACT, the ACC, which is the Accreditation and Certification Committee, have liaisons to each other to help prevent siloing. Our liaison to the ACC from the ACC is Brian Lisson, and our liaison to the ACC is Sarah Osterhaus. The way the TIRE works is that we identify a project that we think is important to undertake. Then we create and populate a task force. This is also the way the ACC operates. Task forces are short-term project-focused teams. And then once the project's complete, the task force is dissolved, and that's it. Using the task forces provides an opportunity to get far more volunteers involved when compared to our past, when committees could basically sit idle for a year or more for the same old people just getting older and not much else going on. So we like the way the new structure is working, and for us and also for the association. TIRE's work over the past year has been focused on two main areas: revision of the DPI section of the standards and member education. With the DPI standards, we created 4 separate task forces to work on different sections of the current standard. They were operating systems, zipline brake systems, ground anchor systems, and critical rope systems. The net result of this work is a proposed revision of the whole DPI standard, with the most changes in 3 sections of that standard: zip brakes, ground anchors, and critical rope. The Operating Systems Task Force created a new new language to align with the current version of the operation standards and provide language and terminology to describe the different ways courses and elements are being used. We've moved the existing parts of the document around to make more sense with that new structure. New definitions were also created and some were revised to support the standard. The net result is we have a complete proposed standard revision that we submitted to the consensus group in December, and they're currently preparing it for a public comment period that will be happening in the near future. We also recognize education and educating our constituents and other interested parties is an important and arguably critical part of our work. We've been doing it in a pretty informal and haphazard way over the years as an association, and it's mainly been at the annual conference. And there's no use creating great, fantastic technical information that people have trouble accessing or understanding once they get it. We all know that interpretation of standards is an ongoing thing, never ends. And translating fancy language in white papers and technical bulletins hasn't been done as effectively as it could be. So the member education panel, which is an ongoing task force that doesn't end, is chaired by Christina Book, and they're focused on addressing this challenge. She and the MEP team are using the ACT Academy as their main tool for accessing this type of information. The Academy page is being developed with 6 categories of information. We have begun to create a library of topical webinars that you can attend live or access anytime thereafter. So the TIRE committee is going to be presenting all of this work in detail at our double workshop session on Saturday morning at the conference. So please come. This coming year will be less about proposing standards and far more about education. Although we'll certainly be engaged in standards work while the consensus group processes public comments, the main effort will be on launching the new ACT Academy and populating and promoting it. This conference will be my final act as chair of a committee and of the TIRE committee. It's been a really great run for a really long time. I've been chair of various committees for, I think, 18 years, going from the Installation Standards Committee to the DPI, just a rebranded name for the same committee, to the Standards Development Committee, and now the TIRE Committee. So it's time to allow somebody else, next generation, I guess, to take over. There's no better person that I can think of than Michelle Hepler, who's, everybody knows her, longtime ACT volunteer, former chair, all around wonderful person to take on that position. I'm going to stay on the committee and take on tasks that suit my skills. And I really look forward to working with Michelle and the rest of the team in the coming year. Thanks, and have a great conference, everybody.
$18 years. Wow. Are you a better man for it? We'll talk later. We'll talk later. Obviously, Rich just mentioned Michelle Hepler stepping into that role. We're very grateful and thankful for her willingness to serve in that, and all the other chairs have confirmed their willingness to serve another year in their roles, which is incredible for continuity and consistency for the association. And we look forward to another great year with all of their efforts. Maybe give them one last round of applause for everything that. All right. So we are going to give another live update. We're back to in-person stuff here. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Billy Simpson, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the 2022 Board of Directors elections.
Thanks, Carson. So just for reference, this is slide 30 of 37. So the wiggles that are out there going on right now, we're almost there. We're in the home stretch. So just a little history to how we got here, where we are today. The 2 categories that can vote for our board of directors are the general membership and the PBM body itself. There's 2 board seats for the PBMs and there's 1 for the general membership. Those 2 voting processes were different at one time. The general membership was always done online. And in this room during the AGM, we typically did the vote for the PBMs. Last year with a virtual conference, we had the opportunity to change that model because we weren't together. So we had to come up with a new way to do the PBM piece. So we tried to align that as much as we could with the general membership and went online with that. It was a pretty successful process. We liked the way it went. So as the board, we decided to align that as much as we could. We went through our bylaws and figured out exactly what we could and couldn't do. And we went ahead and aligned those 2 processes this year, which has given us an opportunity for you all to still vote up until 3 o'clock tomorrow when the voting closes. So again, there's 1 open seat for the board for the general membership category, and we have 3 candidates for that group. The first one is Jason Ong from Enarest. I apologize, Jason, if you're in the room. I don't know. I haven't seen you yet, but from Enarest in Malaysia. Nathan Pfefferkorn from Mount Hermon Association, and Michael Smith from Adventure Smith. If Nathan or Jason or Michael are in the room, go ahead and stand up and make yourself known so people can see you. You guys still have an opportunity to talk to those folks and see if they are the person you want to put on this board of directors for the coming year. The other 2 seats have 2 candidates. Carson kind of said earlier that we kind of know who one of those people are already. So Rohan Shahani is running again from Challenge Works and Eric Martyr from Synergo. I don't want to surprise anybody, but we've got 2 seats and 2 candidates. You'll find out who wins on Saturday evening at the award ceremony. Eric and Rohan, if you guys want to stand up or wave or make yourself known, favorite animal, noise, whatever you want to do. So a big round of applause for all those candidates. Thank you guys so much for your willingness to serve. Again, you do have an opportunity to still vote. If you are in the general membership category, everybody should have gotten an email. If you're a general member, it's not part of an organization, you are able to vote for the general membership category. You'll get 1 vote for your 1 membership that you have. Ballots were sent out to emails to PBMs and other organizational memberships. If your organization has more than 1 account, you still only get 1 vote. So that master account should have received that email and how to ballot and do all that process. If you have any questions about that or haven't done that yet, I would encourage you to find that email, wherever that's at. It's your right to vote for our association. We're here to do your work. So please take that opportunity and do that. Get with the folks who are in the room who are running for the board. Talk to us. Feel free to do that. Voting does close, like I said, tomorrow at 3 p.m. and we will let you know who won that at the award ceremony on Saturday evening. Good luck to all the candidates and thanks for having us. Thanks for being here in Cleveland, and I'm going to give it back to Carson.
Thanks, Billy. There's a note on the screen, but if you have not found that email, you're trying to figure out how to vote, you can't quite figure it out. John Vogelin, as Sean mentioned, is all things technology and make sure the behind the scenes works properly. John is in the back of the room. Maybe wave your hand back there, John. Thank you, John. Find him if you're having trouble figuring out how to vote, or if you're not sure if you're eligible or any questions like that. Please do exercise that right to vote. It is one of the largest benefits that you have as a member, and an important part of governance of the association. So thank you for that. Okay. Is there any new business? And with that, I would like to take a motion to adjourn the annual general meeting. Can I get a second? Thank you, Bauman. All right, in discussion, before we vote on this, following the meeting, Matt Marcus, our MC extraordinaire, will have a few announcements pertaining to things happening after this meeting. Please stick around for just a moment after we take this vote to hear some important announcements. All right, any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The annual general meeting is adjourned at 4:40 Eastern time. How you fingers doing over there, Corey? Thank you, everyone, for their time. So I'm gonna hand the microphone to them.
Thanks, sir. Hey, just good news, the app is now working. There was a little bit of trouble earlier. You can log in, you can save the sessions, make your schedule. So go ahead and log into that app, that's good news, it's working again. Just remember your badge is required to get into any of the sessions, any of the rooms, so be sure to wear that at all times. And just like the airlines, let's be wearing our masks the whole time, even in the expo hall and places where there's food or drink. Keep your mask on unless you're actively eating or drinking. Also, there is at the membership, the registration desk, you can get a little dot, green dot, yellow dot, red dot, depending on your comfort level. So if you are okay with hugs, handshakes, moving in close, get a green dot. If you need to have a bubble around you and some social distance, go ahead and get a red dot, and then yellow dot somewhere in between, elbow bumps, that sort of thing. And finally, my notes here. Oh, the expo hall, because there's food in there and people will have their masks off, we do have a session on Friday and Saturday morning, 9 to 11. There'll be no food or drinks allowed in there. And that way, everybody will be masked up. Does that make sense? And then finally, the presenter gathering is today in the expo hall A, it's in the far left corner at 6:30. So if you're presenting, go ahead to that meeting at 6:30, and the expo hall does open at 5:30. What time is it now? 4:40. Oh, there you go. So we got a little bit of time. So go ahead, take a break, get some water, go to the bathroom. We'll see you down in the expo hall. Thanks.